So I've been wearing this corset about an hour and a half right now, and I'm going to be wearing it for about another half an hour. But one thing that I wanted to get out before I forgot about it is I continually adjust the corset while I'm wearing it, especially when it's this loose, because right now the waist of the corset is not so small that it hooks underneath my ribs. So when I sit down, it has a tendency that it wants to ride up. I can feel it. And so if I do feel that is kind of creeping up onto my lower rib cage, then I will actually get up and pull it down. If I feel that it's actually down a little bit too far and it's starting to hit the nerves that go over my hip bones, then I will pull it up. And it's not a huge complicated thing. I'm just, adjusting it in a minor way so that I keep it as comfortable as possible. If you feel that it's not sitting on you the right way, then you can either pull it the right way that you want it to, or you can take the corset off, lace down again in such a way that you are more comfortable the second time around. With the case of my hip, once again, if I feel that it's starting to torque on me as I'm wearing it, then I will continually pull it this way, pull the top that way, pull the bottom in the other direction, and actually take my hand and actually kind of push the material back so that I can make sure that the two back panels, lacing panels, are still parallel and this is going straight up and down. It's still vertical on my body. So if you have any sort of asymmetry, if you have scoliosis or one hip bigger than the other, one leg shorter than the other, you may have to continually do this. If you find that it is torquing quite a lot on you, if you put on the corset right away and you find that it's automatically twisted on you just from the get-go, take the corset off, put it back on, lace it up again, straight this time, because you never want to break in your corset as it's slanted, because that can actually make the corset be slanted on you every single time you wear it from then on. Even if the corset was constructed such that it was symmetric, the way that you wear the corset, if you're wearing it on a slant, it can actually make the corset asymmetric on you, the way that the fibers have eased on your body. Another thing that I've noticed as I've been wearing it just for the last hour and a half or so, when I first put the corset on, there was some wrinkling at the hip here, just at the very top. And it has actually smoothed over a little bit more as I have been wearing it in a little bit. So I know that it's starting to ease and it's starting to conform over that natural curve of my own hip bone, which is good. As I wear this in more and more, I might find that the wrinkles go away completely if the corset is properly constructed and it's been roll pinned or what have you. So these are things that you just need to take note of. So I'm going to show you some really quick observations that I made after I stopped wearing this for the very first time that I was breaking it in. So I'm not sure if you can see it from far away. I might bring it a little bit closer so maybe you'll be able to see it a little better. But the bones themselves, they are not bent. They're still straight, and I have gone to great lengths to keep them straight. I always do that for all of my corsets. But the fabric itself kind of looks like it might be going sort of whoop, like sort of curved in that particular direction at the waistline. The only place that I was putting tension on this corset yesterday was at the waistline, because remember the top and the bottom are supposed to fit flush to my rib and hip measurements when the corset's completely closed. So when I was wearing it loosely, it has absolutely no tension on it whatsoever. So the only place you're going to see tension right now is at the waistline. Another thing, you might start to see that the seams start to wobble a little bit more. That is fairly normal, especially in a delicate fabric like silk. You might find that if you wear it, it's going to look worn. And if you put uneven tension on it, so I'm putting tension at the waistline, but not at the top, not at the bottom, then you're going to see a little bit more wobbling at the waistline. There are a couple things else that I wanted to show you. Right there, there's some skipped stitches. Those are not broken. Those are actually skipped when they were sewn. I really don't care about that sort of thing. Some people do. I'm not that scrutinous. You might notice that because there was tension at the waistline, you'll be able to see the threads in between, like the stitching in between the two panels, will be a little bit more visible. And I find that to be normal in my corsets.
especially if you have a corset where the two panels are stitched together with like a lock stitch and pressed open instead of, say, a top stitch. So in this particular case, it looks like it was made with a top stitch in this situation, but this is actually a really good seam to show you what's going on, where you see how you don't see the stitching in between those two panels right there at the top or at the bottom there, but at the waistline you do see the tension. You do see the panels wanting to come away there, and the stitching should always be, you know, pretty strong in a corset. You know, it's supposed to keep the panels together, obviously. So you might see that the panels are providing resistance, but as long as the stitching doesn't come apart, I'm not concerned about that sort of thing. Another place that you might want to check out is at the busk here. Now, most busks you will find are actually two pieces of fabric, especially on the loop side, are two pieces of fabric that are stitched in between the loops here. I'm going to have to cut off that that loose thread right there. So yeah, most busks will have two pieces of fabric that are sewn at the seams here. In this particular style, it's actually a buttonhole. So it's one piece of fabric that wraps around the busk and it has a buttonhole there. So there should be no ripping or coming away of the stitching whatsoever in between the loops, because there's nothing to come away there unless the fabric itself rips, and I very much doubt that's going to happen. But when you're looking at your own corset, you should you know, look closely around the busk and make sure that the stitching is nice, it's staying in place, it's not coming away. The stitch length, I noticed, is actually pretty long on the lining side, but once again, it's not the couture, so the lining has absolutely nothing to do with the strength. If you are the type of person that, you know, you want your insides to be just as pretty as the outsides, then you have to specify that. As long as nothing rips, I'm okay with that.
And I will check in with you in a few days for the next video. Bye.